Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to ReZero, Season 2, episode... What episode is this? 7? So last week we didn't get to an episode, and I had said before that even though One Piece week was going on, it wouldn't affect the weekend stuff. Well, it did, but not in the way that was necessarily expected. It affected the weekend stuff for Sunday, at least, last Sunday, because I was just not in the right mindset to record at that point. Like at the only point I basically had to be able to record it. And it's just One Piece week took so much out of me. And it was too hard to be able to get back into that at this point. So I needed to just go on with everything else I had and move along. And we would just take that week off. But we are back with another episode of ReZero Season 2. So, yeah. Ugh. Excuse me. Last we left off, we had big old fights with Elsa. Frederica turned into a cat after stripping down. I am okay with this. But in all seriousness, it seemed like everyone pretty much died. Like it kind of implied Frederica died, Petra died. But instead of being killed, which like Subaru was about to do, he was about to let himself be killed as he was still going to try and protect Rem, but that's just how he wanted to go out. But instead of that happening, Beatrice saved him at the last moment. And it's like, oh, that's not great. Because Petra is dead. It's, again, implied at least that Frederica's dead. I don't know if it showed her being dead or not, but it's definitely at least implied. I don't know if Ram is. I'm not actually sure about that one. But yeah. So we'll see how this goes with Beatrice. Maybe it's just a temporary thing and he's still going to end up going back out there and being killed or something. I don't know. We'll see. Because I doubt they'll permanently kill off Frederica and Petra and possibly Ram. Definitely not Petra, I feel. So it's probably just like a stall thing or something, or like maybe Beatrice needs to tell him something. I don't know. We'll find out. But either way, I am just excited to get to this, so let's get to this. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black, then it fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So there's two halves to this episode, really, and I'll cover them one by one. So the first half continues right where we left off. Subaru had been saved by Beatrice and is now freaking out because that's not what he wanted. So he's like going off at her and getting her really flustered and thrown off. He breaks her teapot and tries to use a shard to kill himself, but she stops him. And she's getting super emotional here and ends up telling him that everything she's done, said, etc. has been according to the gospel of the witch. So it's like, we don't know, though, if she's telling the truth there or if she's making an excuse. Maybe she's hiding the truth because this is more convenient. It's hard to say. It's really hard to say, like, what is actually going on. Oh, excuse me. but she's definitely hiding something. That much is obvious. um, but either way, Subaru ends up just trying to comfort her, but she's like freaking out about everything. And so Elsa then comes in because apparently Elsa can come in here. I wondered why it took her so long. um, but she did come in and killed him, much to Beatrice's surprise. She was definitely shocked by that. He did die, and the save point was right where it left off, and that gives, or right where it was before, and that gives us the second half of this episode. So things are going as normal until the change ends up coming with Garfield. Things are a little different here. He's like kind of not adhering to the normal pattern, as Subaru notes, and asks Subaru to follow him. He does, and ends up talking with Garfield and the little old girl character. I can't remember her name right now. Maybe I should just like check here. Because I, for the life of me, just can't think of her name at the moment. Ryuzu. So he meets with Ryuzu and Garfield, and they start talking. But when he reveals that he wants to complete the trial in Amelia's place, they attack him and lock him in some secret area of the sanctuary. He's tied up, his mouth is gagged, his eyes are covered, just everything. And he's told by Garfield that because he has the scent of the witch on him, the miasma, he's believed to be a witch cultist. And Garfield and Ryuzu are like trying to figure out why he's there and everything, and they're facilitating like the idea of his disappearance and all. But he ends up getting rescued by Otto, and they have a discussion about things, about what's been going on. Otto reveals that he's Subaru's friend, and Subaru is just like so thrown off by it, but then he starts laughing because it's like, oh, I'm such a moron. And I like that side of Subaru, where it's like he realizes just how fucking stupid he's been, how oblivious to things he's been. Um, it's something that's a constant sign of his character growth. And that's a big thing with Subaru's character. Like, he makes shitty decisions. He does horrible things at times. Like, there's an entire big point of that in season 1 on how shitty he was being at a certain point. But the thing is, he learns from his mistakes. And he grows as a person because of it. He's able to have this growth and this development and become better than he used to be. Subaru is actually extremely good at retrospective growth, looking back on everything he's done and learning from it. He's excessively good at that. And we see an example of that here. And it's such a simple, small example. But it is an example nonetheless of how he sees how stupid he was about Otto. And it doesn't blatantly come out and say it, but it's obvious that he thought of Otto as a useful ally, as someone who's like, okay, you're useful to what I'm trying to do, and that's all you are to me. And that's all I see you as. But in reality, it's like he hasn't realized. He's been so stupid and so, well, focused on everything else that he hasn't even realized that he and Otto have become friends. He hasn't realized that they've grown close. It just never occurred to him. The thought never crossed his mind, and now that he realizes this through Otto's words, he can't help but laugh at just how fucking stupid he was. And it's I actually really like that. I just really think that's really funny and just a good sign of his retrospective growth. seeing how stupid he's been, seeing how just bad he's been, and growing from it, changing himself to be better. And I think part of the reason why I like retrospective growth like that so much is because I can connect with it, having gone through that myself. As I've stated many times before on this channel in various videos, and will most likely state many times again, I used to be horrible. I did horribly shitty things to family, to friends, to people I didn't know. I was excessively bigoted growing up. Honestly, for most of my life, I was excessively bigoted. I was horrible towards LGBTQ plus people, ironically enough. Um, I was horrible to a lot of people. I engaged in a lot of those racist jokes that kids made because it was what I grew up around, but also it's because I didn't know better. And on top of that, I broke the law as well. I stole, I shoplifted. I did horrible things that I know I shouldn't have done, and I've grown from them because I realized how fucking horrible I was, how stupid I had been, how bigoted and disgusting I was. And it's not just because I realized more about myself that I noticed this. It's not just because I came out as queer, that I came out as trans, that yada, 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 here and there, all this different stuff. It's not just because of that. It's because I actually stopped to think. I actually stopped to think and do research and actually open my eyes to these things. I actually started to realize that I was in the wrong. And instead of like doubling down like some people do, I acknowledged my wrongness and I've been working to try and fix it. And I'm not there yet. I'm not perfect. Even after coming out as trans, I have made many mistakes and done many bad things. I've said many things that are wrong, are bad. I've said things and done things that I can't excuse. But at the same time, I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to make excuses for what I've done or said. I'm trying to make myself better so that I don't make those mistakes again. And it's going to be a continuing process. But I'm going to keep trying because it matters to me that I get myself away from that, that I become better. That matters to me. I have hurt so many people, isolated myself from friends, and just, again, done horrible things. And the only way to make it right is to work my damnedest to make sure I never do it again. I'll keep tripping and falling, but I'll keep getting back up and trying again. And every time I'll get a little bit better. But I'll still make mistakes. That's what growth is about. It's not about being perfect the next time. It's not about just overcoming something once and from that point forward never making mistakes again. No. That's not realistic. That's not how anything works. You're going to make mistakes throughout your entire life. You're going to do bad things. You're going to say bad things throughout your entire life. no matter how many times you go through this, it's gonna keep happening. But as long as you work to make sure it stops, or at least slows down, or as long as you work to make things better, then you'll get better at it. It'll never be perfect, but it'll be better than it used to be. And you may never be perfect, but you'll definitely be in a lot better place than you ever were before. And that's what matters. I'm so glad that I worked past the transphobia, homophobia, racist ideas, and whatnot that I used to have. I'm so glad. I've become such a better person. And again, I'm still not perfect. I still make a lot of these mistakes even today. And it's going to keep happening. But I want to improve. And just like Subaru, I find it stupid how stupid I used to be. And how stupid I've continued to be. So maybe that's why I like seeing this with Subaru and other characters so much, because I can connect so deeply with it. Because seeing these characters like Subaru grow and learn from their mistakes and make themselves better people because of that, it allows me to honestly feel better about my own journey to do so. It's one of the reasons I love Weiss and Ruby so much. It's the same kind of thing, because she's been the same way. She's another great example of retrospective growth in a character. So yeah, I really did like that scene. The question is, what's going to happen now? Because Otto has helped free Subaru. They're still down there at the moment, but he's free. I assume they're going to escape at this point, but what's going to happen? Are they just going to leave? Are they going to reveal what Garfield and Suzu, or whatever the fuck her name was, Ryuzu, did? Um, I don't know. But I'm interested to find out exactly where this goes. And you know Amelia would stick up for him. Hell, Roswell would stick up for him. They both know, and as bad as Roswell has proven to be, he would stick up for Subaru still. They both know that Subaru is not a witch cultist. Hell, honestly, Ram knows that. Ram, I think, would also agree to it. She'd probably say something like that he's an idiot and he's just a dumbass and stuff like that. She'd insult him, but say like, "Oh, but he's not a witch cultist" or something like that. She'd say something like that. Because that's just how Ram tends to be with him. But yeah, I'm very interested to see where this goes, and I definitely want, of course, the resolution with everything happening at the mansion with Frederica and Petra and Elsa, and definitely I want to see more stuff with Beatrice for pretty obvious reasons. I like Beatrice, I suppose. Uh, Seriously, I do really like her. She's one of my favorite characters, I would say. I enjoy her personality and attitude. It's fun. It's entertaining. I'm not usually like into a lot of tsundere types, but I guess more lately, like in the past few years, there's been more characters that are, you know, tsundere archetypes that I've liked a little bit more than others. It's still very little in the large scheme of things, but I've been growing more attached to certain specific characters like that. Her Maho Hyajo from Steins Gate Zero is another good example. Some characters like that. I don't know if I would really count Weiss as a tsundere. Maybe earlier in the series, but not currently. I don't know. Either way, you get the idea. um, but yeah, I'm definitely interested to see where this season goes because right now this is what we're focusing on: the trial or trials, I guess. Even though we haven't actually, it's been a few episodes since we've done anything with those. It's just been kind of like showing that Amelia's still struggling with the first trial, um, and Subaru still wants to kind of try to take the trial in her place. Um, so there's still that. We still have the stuff with the mansion that's been going on for a couple episodes now. It's like we're focusing on a few specific things and kind of running with it. So we'll have to see exactly what happens. But I hope that they don't try to go to anything else before all of this is resolved. I just really feel like they need to resolve all this stuff before they move on to anything else because there's so much happening right now with all these different plot points. It just, if they added something else, it would just feel like too much. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. But last thing to note, we did also find out an interesting fact in this episode. Frederica and Garfield are half siblings. They had different fathers. Um, because Frederica's father was the father half. Hold on, I have to. Let me see here. Maybe I should. Okay, it's muted. I'm too far. Hold on. I'm just trying to. Did he not tell them? I thought he told them before. Oh, no, here it is. Yeah, so they have different fathers. So both of them have a human mother. Frederica has a mixed blood father, which, yeah, that only makes her a quarter demi-human. Which means Gar would have to, if he's half and half, then his father would have to have been like a full blood, right? Because if they both have the same mother, it would have to be, yeah. So that's interesting to know. Um, I also wonder since we saw that Frederica, even if she is only quarter human, since she can turn into a beast form, I assume Garfield can too. I wonder if we're going to see that at some point. Um, Especially since he has a higher mixed blood amount. So I would assume there's more of that to him. Maybe. Maybe his like transformed state is more powerful or something. I don't know. I don't know how all that works. Maybe it'll explain it, but either way, tell me in the comments below what you thought of this episode of ReZero Season 2, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.